known as Granny Rocks.
And hi there, I'm James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James.
And tonight I'm going to take on the topic of enduring the pain, we may yet see the light. And this really goes across the board in our lives, collective lives and personal lives. So I'd like to share some thoughts with you, and I hope that you share some thoughts in connection with us. But before we get going on the show, I'd like to introduce you to Sweet Baby James, who is going to introduce our program.
Welcome to Granny Rocks, where Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, we have the opportunity to experience Granny's wit, wisdom, and her very uncommon sense. So without further ado, here's Granny.
Well, first I want to say that Tracy has already said hello and sent some caring and loving images, which is just great, because that makes us know that we are actually broadcasting and reaching people, and we really appreciate it. So I have a lot to talk about tonight, as you can imagine. But first I want to start with the most insignificant thing, or one of the most insignificant things that's happened on the planet today.
Oh, okay. What's
and
that?
then we're going to see how that connects to the topic. Exactly.
Okay.
So when you listen, you're going to say, oh my God, what's wrong with that lady? But you'll see. And somebody who says she's Granny Rock says hi there, and that's probably Elizabeth. Elizabeth, please come back as you. And Richard says, good evening, Beth and James. And good evening, Richard. And yes, that was Lizzie. So happy to see you
Lizzie.
all. So I want to start with, let's see, the very insignificant thing that happened today. Well, the last couple of days I've been having a lot of pain in my teeth. And I want to tell you, I've had a rough day and I'm in a lot of pain right now. Unusual pain, different from my normal pain. And I went to the dentist and discovered that there was an infection. And then we had to go back, and I had to do a root canal. It was really painful and all of that. So what this reflects is, I didn't know this, but the nerve in that tooth was dead, and I didn't know that I had an infection. Because, and I always have pain in my teeth, so I didn't think much of it. Well, in the last few days, it was like astronomical, and I got in on an emergency, and then I discovered this infection, and the reason that I didn't feel the infection was because I had no nerve. It was like I was numb. Now, can anybody relate to the idea that we get numb to things that are chronic, and we don't even know? And actually, an infection in your teeth can be lethal, actually, if you have certain kind of health conditions such as I do. And anyway, it was only when it started impinging on other things, that my other teeth started hurting, that I discovered that this tooth was in trouble. And so we had it fixed, and I'm enduring a lot of pain. And I have been enduring a lot of pain. And Ali says, good morning, and to two beautiful-hearted people, everything good in life. May God bless you with all the best, love and respect. And that's Ali from Turkey.
Thank you, Ali.
Best
to you.
This is so, symbolic of how we just get like numb, to the painful things. And sometimes the pain gets so bad that it's a wake-up call, and then we begin to do something about it, right? Now, what does that have to do with some of the more significant things that happened today?
Like what?
Well, you mean like, is there anything more significant that happened today than my root canal? I think so.
I think so.
Okay. Well, Amy says hello, Beth and James. Love both of you, and we love you too, Amy. So what I'm referring to, of course, is the political situation that we saw erupting in the Capitol today.
The storming of the Capitol.
And I don't want to approach this in a partisan political way. I want to approach this in a human way. And the first thing that strikes me is the pain of the people who really believe that Trump was cheated
Mm-hmm.
and how desperate they feel and the lengths that they're willing to go to in order to change that reality. And personally, and based on so much external evidence, I don't believe that Trump was cheated out of the election. I think he just lost, and he's not willing to admit it. But this is so painful to some people. People have given their heart and soul to this man, and I think it's because they feel loved by him. Now, I want to make a big distinction. And that big distinction, and I'll show you about the enduring the pain part, because, see, only by enduring the pain and not just taking pain medication, I discovered that I had this infection, right? So there are people, politicians, who went along with challenging the Electoral College vote, and they didn't care whatsoever about any of the issues, nor did they care for Trump. They were just looking for a way to appeal to Mr. Trump's supporters, and it was completely corrupt. And that's very painful. Of course, you might say, what is wrong with people that they would do that? They call themselves public servants, but they're really just after their own, political, uh, advantage. And and that is proved by how many of them are now dropping Trump
Like a hot potato.
like a hot potato because he no longer looks like a winner and he looks pretty bad. And all of a sudden, they don't love him anymore. And it is interesting that he said in his tweet, uh, he said, I love you to these people who are out there rioting, and I love you, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
must have felt loved by him. And it's very sad to me. And see, that is the enlightenment there, is to realize how many people feel so unloved that they need someone like Trump to say, I care about you, I love you, and that they'll follow him to the ends of the earth. And to me, that's a sad statement about true pain that people are having. And so those people who were not supporting him out of their own corrupt reasoning, and by the way, and Catalina sent us caring. Similarly, there were people who have been rioting and acting macho. These people really don't care about what Trump is saying. They're just looking for an opportunity to look powerful. And my God, where's the enlightenment there? Is to realize how powerless people feel, that they feel like, as men especially, they've got to prove their prowess and how powerful they are. And so they're going to go out there with their guns and all of that stuff.
There's some women in there too.
And there are some women in there too. And this has nothing to do with understanding our problems or thinking through what should be done or having any kind of an objective view of what ails our society. It's just like, I want to get out there, I want to look powerful, I want to have an excuse to wear a gun and maybe shoot somebody. And sadly, at least one person was killed today, and we don't know what the circumstances were. And so to me, it's very sad that the leader that they are so devoted to does not love them. He says he loves them, but he does not love them. Todd said hi, and hi back to Todd. If he loved them, he would care about what was happening to them. He would be inquiring about their financial situation. He would be um, caring about their place in the world and why they feel so disempowered. But he's using them, and in my opinion, and you may disagree with me, and you're certainly entitled to do that, but there it is. And for the rest, so what does that have to do with enduring pain? Well, for many years, many people have been enduring pain about this president
Mm-hmm.
and the way that he treats people and uses them and throws them away, and how everything is about him. And people have been really upset about that. And yet, at the same time, by enduring the pain of the last 4 years, things are coming out now that could actually lead to something positive. Is it possible that now there's going to be some real movement on global warming and climate change? Is it possible that members of the president's party are going to actually turn against him? Because, and now here's the sad part, and how many of them are turning against him because he lost. He did not only lose the election, but he also lost on the veto of the defense bill. So he's beginning to look less powerful, and all of a sudden these super courageous people are coming out and they're fighting him. But today's fiasco makes him so isolated and makes him look so bad that they are doing something, they're turning against him. And the people who love him are going to become and are becoming more and more isolated. And I can only hope that they can take a moment and ask themselves, what is really happening? Why are so many people saying that the election was in fact fair? Can they allow themselves that question? Blanca says, hello, Beth and James. Hola, Blanca. So will there be some enlightenment there? And Blanca sent us, looks like a carnation.
And Todd sent us a big hi. Hello, Todd.
I already
Oh, you did already?
I did already.
Oh, well.
So is it possible that those of us who have endured the viciousness, the polarization, the lies, are going to see a day where we begin to look at what's really going on and have some enlightenment about the pain of people? See, it's not enough for the opposition party to gloat and call people names and call them terrorists. That kind of makes me sick, because not all those people are really terrorists. Many of them are very sincere, and my heart goes out to them, because so many people are turning against them, which can make them feel even more desperate, more unloved, and more alone. And who knows where all of that is going to lead. So here we are. I have this, what do you call this thing that they did to my tooth?
The root canal.
And I'm enduring all the pain in the hopes that we are clearing the infection. But we can only do that if we're honest about what is really going on with this tooth, right? And these teeth. And I am hoping that we can clear the infection of desperation that is felt by so many people who are feeding into this negativity because they truly believe it. Is there something you would like to share at this point, James?
Well, I was just thinking that some of those people involved in the uprising today are members of hate groups. And so they've gotten so out of touch with the love that the hate gives them a feeling of power.
Yeah.
And it's harder to get through to them with a message of love. But it would be good to go into inquiries of why do you hate these groups of people? And how do they hurt you? Et cetera, et cetera. And open up some dialogue to where they can shift. Because some members along the way have shifted, dropped out, realized that wasn't meeting their needs. So what do you do with people who are so caught up in hate?
Well, you need to find out why people are so hateful. We have a Facebook bulletin board up here where we live, and it's amazing how much hatred there is in that bulletin board against neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people just feel absolutely entitled to spill vitriol and anger at others. And it's not enough to say these people are bad.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, like some of those people you're talking about lost their homes in the wildfires recently, so they're hurting, they're upset, and then they take it out on other people.
that's right. And that's exactly what happens. So many people are hurting and upset, and they take it out on other people. So, anyone out there would like to make a comment about something that they are enduring, some pain that they are enduring, that is bringing them enlightenment, even if it's taking years for them to be enlightened and to see, and for others to see the light as well. So we welcome your comments right now. Anyone want to say something about this? In the meantime, while you're thinking of that, what can we do to open our hearts, not to be pushed around, but to be pushed into awareness about what is happening, not only in our nation, but everywhere? Why are people attracted to someone who will plumb lie to them and manipulate them and not care about them, not care what happens to them? Does anyone have a comment that they would like to share about that? Well, we aren't getting. People are probably thinking about this question.
I have a thought. During these 4 years, I have to confess that I have become polarized toward Trump many times, and that I even avoid, seeing him give it to say things on video or whatever, because of my feeling that I get stirred up, the toxicity that emanates, especially when he's lying. But when I look back at his background, I can see that uh, he was molded to be this way by his father. And he was taught that he could get away with things and never be held accountable. And so now chickens are coming home to roost, and he's starting to have to be held accountable. And this could be a great learning for him.
It could be. I mean, that could be a breakthrough for him. But I think that it's mostly that he's losing because more and more people are turning against him and are feeling like it's too much. And you know what happens is when you lose, you no longer carry that veneer of invulnerability and power.
Right. That's right.
And it doesn't mean that people have overcome their need to identify with power. It just means that they don't see him as powerful. Tracy said, I'm not sure I have an answer to your questions, but I really resonate with you saying people are in pain. It opens up my heart rather than keeping me in judgment. I am so happy to hear that. I think that's really important. We can look at the last years, and it's not just 4 years, it's many years of people feeling unloved.
It's true.
And so when you have somebody who says, I care about you, I love you, how sad is it that people are responding to that and feel the need for that? Why aren't people feeling loved in their lives?
Well, it looks like we need a more caring society, doesn't it?
That's exactly what we need, James.
Mm-hmm.
So we have endured a lot of pain getting here, seeing bad things happen, painful things. I shouldn't call them bad, but painful things happening. And now we're facing that people are dumping him. And many of them are dumping him. And see, for many people, that means that they have to defend him because he's like the martyr who is being pilloried on the cross. Amy says, I surprised myself by being just as upset by people being called terrorists as by the actions of the protesters, and started to think that calling names didn't do anything to see them as people, just like anything else. That's a wonderful comment, Tracy. Calling people traitors or terrorists does not address the issue. And I think it's important for us to endure what we have to endure in order to reach the point that there's enough consciousness and awareness that people are realizing that they're being used and manipulated. I hope that that happens, but I fear that a lot of people won't be feeling that way. Anything else that people would like to share on this topic? Thank you for your comments so far. If I did not have the pain in my teeth, I would never have gone to the dentist. And I would not have discovered that I had an infection. And the more that we become numb to the pain that we are all in, the less capable we are of seeing the cause. Catalina said, over the past 3 years, I've moved from admitting my disability to accepting it. And now I'm letting love in because I'm getting the support I need to live. That's a wonderful thing.
Bravo. Wonderful.
And that you have endured a lot in order to make a change. So whether it's in our individual lives, that we endure pain, and then through that something shifts and we come to a new level of understanding, or that we do that as our society. Before the advent of Donald Trump, there was plenty of pain to go around, and people were ignored. And people were enduring pain, but not getting any support. And when others who have ignored their pain begin to feel pain, then they start looking into causes, and they begin to understand what's happening. And then we have the beginning of a period of enlightenment. I am hoping that there will be a new dedication to global warming, to combating global warming, and to admitting that there's global warming. I'm hoping that people realize that a lot of people are suffering. I am hoping that we become more enlightened. Nick said, so glad I got to watch. Needed to hear your message. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. So let's go forward, acknowledging the pain, enduring the pain, but looking for the pain that is under the pain of others. And remember that I have to endure the pain of the cure in order to get where I need to go. And if I didn't endure the pain of the cure, I would eventually be dead. And so will we as a society, as a world. So many things we have to confront in ourselves. So many things that we like to assume. so many things that we want to ignore. Thank you for joining us for tonight's Granny Rocks. We will be back next Wednesday at 6:30 Pacific Time, and we hope that you join us. Please like the show or love the show. Please add your comments even after the live show is over. Please come and watch Dreams of Peace tomorrow. Somehow I'm going to make an effort to play despite the condition of my body. Because I am willing to endure the pain in order to come to something better with you. So that's Dreams of Peace, improvisational piano, Thursday at 7, and Granny Rocks, Pacific Time, thank you. And Granny Rocks, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.